Alrighty. Okay, everything seems to be working. I hope everyone's having a lovely evening. Or morning, afternoon, or whatever time of day it happens to be in your time zone. I mean, I suppose it's close to afternoon here still. Hey Op, what's the issue of denim? Basically, I'm not allowed to wear tight trousers, so I can't wear jeans. Which of course means I can only wear a skirt without any tights, but it's too cold to wear one, so I'm stuck with, to quote Madness, baggy trousers. In any case, let's get into more Phoenix Wright. So, for those who haven't been following, our client is the chief prosecutor, that is to say Edgeworth's boss. Our assistant is her younger sister Skye. And it's looking rather like the chief of police is behind everything, but it's also looking like he's behind covering, blackmailing Lana, the chief prosecutor, because her little sister was actually guilty of accidentally killing someone. Anyway.
I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of this body? Do I have any concrete proof?
Okay, we're already safe scumming.
I can't let him just squirm his way out of this. I've got to keep the pressure on. Yes, Your Honor, I do have such evidence. Then please hurry up and present it. Just remember, it better prove Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Okay, how do I prove he murdered Detective Goodman?
So, what exactly is this evidence?
The video security footage of the locker room.
It's proof. As to whether or not it's enough to demonstrate the Chief's guilt, I'll let you be the judge. But I am the judge. Oh, right. Well, what do you think, Your Honor? What I think, Mr. Wright, is I'm going to be late for lunch. I guess it wasn't enough. Please, Your Honor, give me just a little longer to consider. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Blah, 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 blah.
Okay, I think this is one of those situations where I have to say no to continue, so...
It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. CRG? In that case, this court is forced to penalise you for your allegations against the Chief. What? Here's a tip. Never a gamble what you can't afford to lose, righto? It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Udgy, I'll leave the rest up to you. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to our senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency.
Hey, Froy, how's it going? Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her.
Mr. Edgeworth? What do you mean?
There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honour of hearing her testimony.
A lady who knows the truth? Another witness?
In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. Hey Kiara, how's it going? Oh, thanks for the share on Twitter, by the way. And it's good that it's going good, Froy.
But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify.
There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room.
Mr. Edgeworth? Who is this person?
Oh, I'm good, Kiara. Feeling kind of sleepy, but not as sleepy as I was last week, and I just ate a Danish pastry, so that's nice. Op's telling me I'm going to have a lot of fun with Kobolds Ate My Baby. Yep. In the usual sort of tabletop slot on Nick's channel, I'll be playing Kobolds Ate My Baby, so that should be interesting. I am told it's madcap, and I'll probably have to re-roll characters several times throughout the game, so there we go. Why are you asking me, Your Honour? Have you forgotten? The defence is the one calling witnesses today.
Mr. Wright? Does such a witness exist?
She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now.
Yes, Your Honour. The defence calls forth Gordon Freeman. The defendant, Miss Lana Skye.
She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 on February the 21st. Her task, to dispose of the victim's body, in accordance with a certain someone's orders.
Mr. Edgeworth?
The prosecution has no objections, Your Honour.
Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we'll reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in
Hold on.
Huh?
Oh my god, Ganon's back.
Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana.
He's talking to Lana.
I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder.
This isn't good.
Of course, you never support such outrageous claims anyway, right?
Oh, come on, this is witness tampering.
Just something to think about. Alright then. I've got a lunch date to meet.
Well, that's going to make the conversation between him and the judge quite awkward.
Okay, if there aren't any further objections, This court is now in recess.
February the 25th, 2:04 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Looks like we managed to stay in the game.
Yeah, thanks to your health, Edgeworth. Chief, he's something else, pals. Detective Gumshoe. I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. My office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with.
That would be one hell of a game.
Could he mean Mayor? Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand?
It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, right? Remember what the judge said.
But Chief, that's not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Risks? What do you mean by that?
It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Oh.
Emma, you okay?
Yeah. When I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery.
So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, sorry for what I said before.
No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved.
Relieved?
Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all, just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her.
What do you mean?
What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside, to force herself to do anything and everything that Chief told her to do.
That must be why she became so cold.
Don't know why, but for some reason I keep reading Chief as Chef. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall.
Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal.
Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armour.
I see. Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait it in...
No, I'm going with you. I wonder how you actually pronounce the exclamation mark. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, right? It's time to end this. To be continued. To be exact, right now. Everyone ready? February the 25th, 2:21 p.m, District Court, Courtroom number 9.
Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, please take the stand?
Miss Lana Skye, you're the Chief Prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know that I've done all that I've done these past 2 years.
Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Skye. And remember, you're under oath. We want to hear the truth.
Of course. The truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister.
Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant.
Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. Gant and the fabrication. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. She just likes rotating in her seat.
Are you sure about this testimony?
Your Honour, I'm confessing to a capital offence. Of course I'm sure. But Lana...
If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this.
That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me.
But what if she's telling the truth?
She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony.
Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself. The defence may now begin its cross-examination.
Righty.
How many years exactly?
Ever since I made senior detective. Let's see, I was 24 then, so that would be 5 years.
Detective Gant and Detective Skye were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases.
She must have been good, coming from the same school as Mia. Damon Gant was a respectable detective, that's why.
But think about it, Miss Skye. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail.
You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is as useless as idle gossip. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And...
Did you do so to help your sister?
Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life.
But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything.
That's not the point. She was traumatized that day, all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. Lana.
So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago? You say you did this all by yourself?
Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor award knife was stuck in the victim's body.
What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident.
That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement. You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away during the struggle.
That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies.
All just to protect me. Okay, that implies Emma can somehow read Phoenix's mind.
So, when you found the scene like this, what do you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to.
Yes. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, then moved the body.
You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the wound, and then you moved the body?
But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You always had a good head on your shoulders.
My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of others. But why'd you do that?
Come now, Mr. Wright. Even you should be able to figure it out.
Very well, let's add this to the witness's testimony. The reason Miss Skye fabricated the knife.
I knew the tip of the weapon found buried in his body would be all the proof we needed.
According to your testimony, Prosecutor Marshall's broken knife was the murder weapon, right?
Yes, and leaving it at that might point the blame away from Dark. I felt the most effective way to get him convicted would be by having the tip of his knife found inside the victim's body.
So you buried it inside the victim's stab wound?
Yes, because I hated Dark for what he did. Yeah. Chat's gone a bit quiet. Is everything going through okay?
So you rearranged the crime scene. Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer?
Okay, good. How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it. Period. Full stop.
Are you so desperate to hide that fact? You're willing to risk the death sentence?
She's lying. She did it so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened. Fair enough. In any case, as a prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. Unless I actually get a pardon, which would actually be very nice. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions. Mr. Wright, my sister's lying.
It looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insists she fabricated the evidence by herself.
There's no way she could have done it alone.
I've got to get Lana to talk more. If she's lying, then she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction.
Okay. Maybe if I ask her about how she moved the body, because there's no way in how she moved it on her own.
When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body?
It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gant's desk.
But the body was found by your desk. Why do you move it there?
The reason for that is simple.
Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Skye moved the body.
The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan.
Pieces of the jar? You mean?
Yes. That wretched jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Doc committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body.
So, when you first found the body, the jar was already...
Of course. It had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. Wait. Neil Marshall was dead and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle.
I see. What's the matter, Emma?
Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed. But I have a feeling there's more to it than that.
There must be a contradiction here somewhere.
Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone. Okay, so... Ah.
Miss Skye, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery? The scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I'm compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony.
A contradiction in my testimony? It's more likely than you think.
You testified, and I quote,
"The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right.
Do you have a problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood.
Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments.
Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on a jar, it must not have been broken before he died.
Well, maybe he was very good at putting together puzzles.
He couldn't have written Emma's name on the shattered jar.
Oh, indeed, Froy. Oh, indeed.
Order! Order!
Your Honour, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. Edgeworth swore. We may be missing something critical here.
Something critical?
Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth.
Very well. The witness may now continue her testimony.
Jar and message in blood. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was dark. dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered.
You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood?
I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence.
Very well. The defence may now begin its cross-examination.
So the jar was already broken? It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier.
It certainly looks as feeble as the defence's case.
But not as feeble as the judge's judgment. Hey, Pony. Yes, you're right. We're in the dark about the dark. Isn't that dark? You're an ace detective. You never missed a detail. Do you really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces? Normally I would have. Also, hi Pony, how's it going? So you didn't know your sister's name was written on the jar? No. If I'd have known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to dust. Well, that helps my case. Lana, you do that for me? It seems you two might make up yet. Oh, going fine. You think a storm's coming? Oh, someone called Johnny Cash. Anyway, I just barely had enough time to move the body as it was. If someone happened upon the scene, you do lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry. I was. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came.
This is rather shocking.
I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what actually happened.
What do you mean?
If you really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away that blood. What else could I have done in that situation? Lana, I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces. But how could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black in the office. A detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now, I always carry a pocket light and a camera with me. Even I carry a bottle of emergency luminol wherever I go. I never miss anything. I got every last piece. So you illegally rearranged the crime scene? Yes. I don't have any excuse for my actions. I'm so sorry, Lena. I didn't know. I've treated you so badly all this time. It's not too late. There's still plenty of time to make up. After we've got to the bottom of this incident.
No doubt, this day will leave a permanent stain on the history of the prosecutor's office.
More contradictions have surfaced in her testimony. Your sister's really putting up a fight. She must really care about you. Still, she's not doing this the right way. I think I've finally figured out the contradictions in her testimony. There's one final possibility that might turn everything around. Okay, I'm going to try the jar on this one, because obviously there's that piece that was clearly missed.
Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you are unaware of.
What?
We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe.
In the chief's safe? But how?
I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up at the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. But couldn't the defendant simply have missed a piece? I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even once I wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Can you believe that?
Yes, I can believe that, Your Honour. Have you forgotten, Your Honour? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken.
Oh, that!
There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness.
I hope you're not implying that this person was Chief Gant. At the time, he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar?
The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide the fact for 2 years?
Well, Your Honour, can you answer that?
Can you answer us that?
Oh. Wait, I'm not the one on trial here.
Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposely hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called?
Fabrication of evidence. But why would Chief Gant do that?
Yep, the judge is guilty of being an incompetent judge. Wait, the judge is guilty of being judgy. In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear?
What happened afterwards?
Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma, and therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Skye became the chief's puppet.
Oof.
No, I did it on my own. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says.
Everything I say is a lie.
Defence attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients.
Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client. I guess you do seem like the type who likes to twist the truth. Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana, maybe right after all.
What do you mean, Wright? So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright?
As I said, everything I say is a lie. Miss Skye, please testify once more.
But
If evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie.
But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall.
Miss Skye, if you will.
I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility it will, if you tell the truth. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. Okay, and since the music's just gone quiet, yep, TSMR. Oh, hey Bear, how's it going? That's what my vocal cords needed. I'll testify about what I really saw.
All right, the witness may testify once more for the final time.
Actual crime scene. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armour's sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent.
Unbelievable. The body was found impaled on the armor's sword.
You're the only one who saw that. If only you had proof. Hey Slash Dev, how's it going? Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning.
What? To me?
It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed.
But I don't remember receiving a picture like that.
Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present this picture. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana.
Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right?
I seem to remember getting something from her then.
Let's check that evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere. Whoops. Okay, so she gave me a book. Legal burb. Oh, okay.
Hey, there's a picture here.
And that is substantially less cute, I think, Froy. Yep, evidence law for kids. I mean, is that Tweety Bird on the cover? Oh. Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this, because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything. Lana's picture inserted into the court record. Crime scene photo from the case 2 years ago taken. Mr. Wright! That picture cut out from his vest. That piece cut out from his vest. Could that be? The cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe. Yep, this is the final... Well, this is the very end of the final case of the first game. Or more specifically, the DS version. That had an extra case. This is the trilogy that was released for the on Steam. What's this? This is a handprint, isn't it? That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whoever fingerprints those must be the real murderer.
What? But those fingerprints... They're yours, Emma.
Why are your lips all turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Oh, Emma, he's trying to start a fashion trend. Don't judge him. Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So as long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer.
Very well. The defence may now begin its cross-examination.
Oh, look, he's back again.
Come now, Udgy. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. Chief Gant? What? Now you want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defence.
I'm afraid it's too late for that.
What?
You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. Sad trombone noise. Do you not flush the murderer, then the pipes of justice will be clogged. It's so weird not to hear the music and sound effects. Oh, I thought you should have been able to hear them. Hang on. Is that better at all? Sorry about that. I didn't realise it was turned down that low. Oh wait, I know what happened. I turned it down. Basically, it was when I was streaming with my capture card and I didn't realise the capture card had its own volume control. Is that better? Thanks for that, Bear. You know, the other day when I was looking at a clip someone had taken, I did actually think it was a bit quiet. Oh well. Onwards and forwards.
This must be that risk we were talking about earlier.
Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. Wow, Edgeworth's hardcore.
Ah, so what? You think I'm worried?
That's true. He does have edge in his name. He's a literal edgelord.
Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements.
What do you mean?
The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? I don't, but someone does. Someone? So, what's your excuse, righto?
Yep, basically Edgeworth and Wright are sort of conspiring with each other to try and prosecute Gant, get Gant. Prove that Gant was the one who did it. Because, you know, it's basically that whole, basically he's very angry. He was tricked into using forged evidence all those years ago.
Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt. Is this true, Mr. Wright?
If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer.
Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you'll be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries.
What do I do now? I'd better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall? Yeah, so basically, obviously I remember from when I played this game years ago that if you show the evidence now, you basically get an automatic game over.
Your Honour, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie! Chief Gant? You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. The conclusive evidence.
Oh, thanks for the confession. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together.
Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it.
What are you talking about, Chief Gant?
Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. Look at this photograph. Look at this photograph. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason.
You mean you had this in your safe?
What? That means you, the Chief of Police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me I could use the situation to control Lena.
So you really were manipulating her?
I knew Lena. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid.
So you assisted Miss Skye?
I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room.
Yep. Go Phoenix. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted.
When I tampered with the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe? But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance? I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't allowed.
Well, you are the worst. Be prepared for yourself.
I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for? A fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces.
But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too?
Oh. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance.
You mean that piece of cloth?
Come now, Righto. Cough it up already. I know you have it.
What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright?
So you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe? Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all, but it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Which move, Righto? You should have shown it then before it was too late. It's been a long battle, but the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up, here, victory is mine.
Good thing I can save Scum. Okay.
Your Honour, I do have evidence to present now. Alright, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut this piece out of the victim's vest. Oh yes! At last you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth.
Your Honour, the prosecution requests that immediately be sent to the lab for an analysis. This handprint on the leather, there must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly.
You mean?
It could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence.
Oh, you're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy.
What?
Think about it. Righto had all this time to present this evidence, yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be?
You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that? Mr. Wright, do you really know?
Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well, I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person to whom these fingerprints belong to is... Emma? Emma Skye?
What? They're mine?
I'm sorry, Emma.
But why? Why didn't you tell me? Very intense indeed, Colourfroy.
Oh ho ho! You're really something, righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true. Tragic but true. This girl really did shove Prosecution Marshall to his death.
How could you? You monster.
Miss Sky?
You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you actually acted like she didn't really. No, she really didn't.
Miss Sky? It's not over yet.
What?
I said this trial isn't over yet. Ha! But I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offence. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh? And what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you're absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Sky, wasn't it?
Oh, hey, Kara, how's it going? And thank you. I am indeed cute.
I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth.
Oh no, I can't save scum. Crazy indeed. Oh. Yeah, he's already got blood on. He's got blood under the hole in his poncho, so.
And what exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out for the blood in his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth? Wait, there's no blood on it. Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time. No, this is nonsense. Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside.
He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out.
If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Sky, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armor's sword?
Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue and make Lana believe her sister did it.
Remember when you admitted only moments ago That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest? Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you prove that you were the actual murderer.
There goes the breakdown.
It's finally all over.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that was very close, Righto. You almost had me.
Yeah, you're right, Froy. The breakdown animations are amazing. And they only get better from here.
Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean you refute his allegations? You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence.
Is it now?
Order! Order! What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Udgy? Earlier, old Righto here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Righto? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? Your Honour, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Well, that's true. The defence did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence.
But that's not fair.
Oh. Did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son.
Yeah, the breakdown animations are literally just like perfect keyframe poses of the breakdown. Or something. I know someone who knows about animation could probably explain it better. But yeah, they're basically the most important part of a character's feel.
I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth?
True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal.
Well, Mr. Wright?
It seems at last the time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived.
Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposely and illegally concealed this piece of cloth?
Okay. Wait, do I say yes I did conceal it illegally, or no I didn't conceal it illegally? So am I admitting to concealing it also, or...
I admit, I refused to present it at one point. Aha! So the evidence is illegal.
No, it isn't, Mr. Gant.
Huh?
It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't.
What do you mean you couldn't?
There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence.
Oh, Udgy, don't listen to his lies. He's a coward. You can't believe him.
There is only one issue left to be resolved at this trial. Is this evidence legal or not?
Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now.
Baby's first law book.
This is my proof, Your Honour. Evidence law. What's this?
I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more.
What?
You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule number 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying I did not have approval from the police department. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here is the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident.
What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and...
Sorry, but can you recall? When was that picture presented?
That was shown only a few moments ago. No.
He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it valueless evidence was you, Damon Gant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest.
Oh yes.
He Winston Churchill dogged himself to doom. Yeah, that's always the best part of the games, Roy, when they team up.
No.
It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you. The Chief of Police personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before the prosecutor marshal in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer, and there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant. The killer was you.
No.
And, well, there's no way I can pull off this laugh.
I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years, he's been snooping around the department, trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me.
Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty.
He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman.
Detective Goodman?
Yeah, that's right.
If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you gotta help me.
Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit.
He stole Goodman's ID card and then tried to take the evidence.
Goodman came to me that day.
He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he decided to speak out.
What are you talking about, Goodman?
Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There's too many questions left unanswered.
He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said,
It's not too late. I'm going to hand all this over to Marshall.
Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it. That accursed knife.
It's definitely a long one, Froy.
I just couldn't pull it out.
Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime.
Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realise my fatal mistake.
The bloody handprints on Detective Gumshoe's locker.
I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous.
I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car?
I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body.
I break your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will. He has a point. Mr. Bourgeoisie.
Leaving the prosecution's car aside. How? How could you get Miss Sky involved in all this? Well, she has as much to lose as I did if the truth came out.
So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker.
I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have time to pick and choose what to take.
So, you left the jar fragments in the glove?
Yes. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. That crime was not intentional.
Fake evidence does not hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that.
Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court?
Me?
You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Udgy. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn you're no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Udgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now we have Righto here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning.
Oh, it's good that he's happy about getting caught.
There are two things I want you to understand.
Yes?
First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent.
You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years, from the time I had Gant help me forge evidence, up until today.
So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble.
My. What high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mir thought so highly of you. Who knows? A few years from now, you just might make it to the top. I'm sure you won't lose your license or anything. Oh, she's smiling. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright.
Miss Sky?
And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing.
Liar.
I was worried the pressure might break you, and yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth.
Stop it! I only did my job.
And tried to seduce my boyfriend.
In light of this case, it seems a good self-examination is in order for all of us. Miss Sky.
Yes, Your Honour.
You're innocent of murder, however. Although the Chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date.
Yes, I understand, Your Honour.
Is there something amusing about all this? Why are you smiling?
Sorry, Your Honour. I'm just corpsing a bit. It's been a long time, Your Honour. A long time since I fell free of these heavy chains.
Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye.
And there's the verdict.
That is all. The court is adjourned.
February the 25th, 5:03 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2.
At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit.
No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended, I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well. You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me. Uh-huh.
Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later.
Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it?
You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals.
Call back.
Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding.
Oh, are you here because of my sister again?
Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal.
Me?
That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone.
Yep, couldn't have done it without Edgeworth. Lana.
Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know.
Well, I won't tell if you won't.
Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day 2 years ago, was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Anne to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realise I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you're only doing it for me. No. Just saying, the only time I've ever heard someone call anyone sis is when a trans woman is being addressed by a supportive sibling. No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you. Sis. I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realise it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologise. I'm happy now. You're happy? Cute indeed, Op. Cute indeed. Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. And smiling again. Oh, Emma, Emma. Ah.
No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find the way back to our rightful path. And it is from there we can move towards a brighter future.
Colourfroy, you love Emma's shades. Yep, they let us see Luminol.
At least that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up.
Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe.
Me?
Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth?
Edgeworth?
Stop hiding and come over here. I mean, like, your boyfriend's literally been standing here alone.
Where is he hiding?
I just came to say, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right, well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope that you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realised today that I can't correct my mistakes. I know. He was probably hiding behind Phoenix. You're right, Froy. Mr. Edgeworth. Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right.
You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. Join me. Join the dark side. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone.
I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now.
But Edgeworth...
Who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime, but they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You're working together with Mr. Wright, and because of that partnership, you're able to present evidence that would have otherwise gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright?
Huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this? A pop quiz?
Come on, Mr. Wright. Show him what Lena's talking about.
Evidence, huh? Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own.
Okay, what's this going to be then? Ah. That might mean something to you, but I don't see how it had anything to do with our partnership.
Huh?
Mr. Wright, it seems you still have a lot to learn as well.
I guess that wasn't the right piece of evidence.
It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor.
Edgeworth, what will you do now?
Well,
whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happens kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know. It seems I owe you my thanks too, Mr. Wright. But whatever I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. And the bedroom. Farewell. I'd better be going too. Okay. But I'll be by to visit soon. Seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific Investigation. It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis. I will. And so another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself.
Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal.
Huh? Where's the detective?
There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this.
But...
I thought you said it was okay.
Wait, I thought you said it was okay.
Yeah, well, it may be okay with me. But the folks at the prison are a different story.
Huh?
Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either.
Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side.
Yeah, well, you see. Mr. Wright here's the one who'll be footing the bill.
Huh? Huh?
What, you think I can afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal.
Huh? 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 Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Why is it? I suddenly feel like I want to scream.
Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go to pay it off together?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go. It's time to bribe an officer of the law. And here's the end credits. Okay. Yeah, I got loads of time. I arranged for a friend of mine in Europe to take care of Emma. I hope she'll be pleased to study under a top coroner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Still, I managed to find my way back to the field somehow. Then I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. Sure hope she doesn't fail her exams. Yep, Kara. Get in, loser. We're going officer bribing. Yep, this is the whole game.
Yikes, I thought I was gone for a moment there. In the end, though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation of the chief's office. If we penalize you anymore, it'll be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show, you can't shake me off that easily.
Yep, this is the end of the entire first game, Froy. But it's the trilogy, so next week I can start the second game in the series.
My new mission is to guard the main entrance and take care of Billy. Can you believe it? I've been demoted to a security guard. My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. I'll show them though. Someday I'm going to make it a detective. Yes, sir! Then I can be just like that Dick Gumshoe.
Okay, Froy, have a good meal. Thanks for watching. And Guar indeed, Kara. Guar indeed. R.I.P. the Blue Badger. Hopefully. world's the best place.
What is it? Can't you see I'm having me a showdown with my state lunch partner? Miss Star managed to sneak this in for me. She's seeing one of the guards, it seems. Well, cowboy, looks like you did it. You ever give Bambina back a smile? Can you make sure Billy and the gang get their water?
Yep, it died. At long last it was put out of its misery. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu. The Right Way Lunch. The top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer is as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It's a hot seller around exam time. Just make sure not to eat it backwards. How do you eat something backwards? I'm worried.
I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after the trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left? Anyway, he said he's been doing something or other for how many years? Well, anyway, I've got another trial to get to, so I better be... Huh? Oh no, I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go.
That's what its seat looks like. First, police department background reminded you that the original DS games, the cop car looked different, and they specifically made it look like an LAPD cop car in the updated version. Fair enough. I mean, yeah, it's absolutely irrefutably set in America and nowhere else. Ah! Nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. In America. Still, sometimes I miss hearing you in your objection. Still, can't go back until I'm a fully fledged spirit medium. Mystic Mayor, afternoon training's about to begin. Coming. Well, see you around, Nick. So is everyone sort of astral projecting to him, or...? Do, 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 do.
Mr. Edgeworth? Mr. Edgeworth? I brought you your tea. What's going on?
Yeah, we'll find out what that letter says in the sequel. Yeah, I guess they're speaking through the fourth wall, Kara. Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book. Oh, spinny openy. Ah. Achievement unlocked. Rise from the ashes. Well, that's that then. Thanks everyone for dropping by. I hope you've enjoyed the first game in the Phoenix Wright trilogy. obviously, next Friday I'll be streaming that. Yeah, sorry, next Friday I'll be streaming the second game. But in the meantime, obviously I'll be on Nick's channel streaming. Well, he'll be streaming me and some other people playing Kobolds Ate My Baby, so by all means drop by to watch that at 7:30, which is 3/4 of an hour from now. But in the meantime, I'll just find someone to raid. Hopefully by then my voice will have come back. Okay. No one I really know is online, so I'm just going to call it here. Okay, so, yep, thanks everyone for coming. I'll be back on his Cursedness channel in about 3/4 of an hour. And I hope you, whether or not you show up, you have a lovely evening. And I'll see everyone on Monday for more Metroid Prime 2.